So quite recently, I built this very pink, very cool looking gaming PC. Now, as a PC flipper, I would consider this pink build to be a pretty niche computer. And that got me thinking, how is it gonna sell compared to some other not so niche computers? You know, the ones with a typical white fish tank aesthetic that everybody loves. Don't worry, I love them too, but I was curious to see how this would do instead. So here's the PC. Under that pink VETROO 240mm cooler, there's an i7-12700KF with 12 total cores. 8 of those are Intel's P, or performance cores, and 4 are Intel's E, or efficiency cores. It's got hyper-threading on all of its performance cores, giving it a total of 20 threads. This CPU will deliver literally everything you need in gaming, and will definitely stay relevant for quite a few years down the line. Now, that 12700KF is stuffed inside of an ASRock B660M motherboard, meaning it's micro ATX. Unfortunately though, this motherboard is DDR4, so we're not going to quite have that faster DDR5 RAM speed. That's alright though, because it'll still perform really well. For the RAM, it's got 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance DDR4 memory clocked at 3200 megahertz. Like I said, it's not going to be as fast as the DDR5 that this CPU can support because unfortunately, the motherboard is DDR4. Before we do get to the rest of the build, I have an excuse as to why it is DDR4. See, I took half of this system in on trade. In fact, when I got it, it was a full system. It had an i3-12100F and a GTX 1070 in this bright, brilliant pink case, although it had a different CPU cooler and not nearly as many fans. So I replaced that i3 and I replaced the graphics card. What did we do for the graphics card? Well, glad you asked. The centerpiece of this build is this RTX 4070 by Zotac that I custom painted. I think it looks incredible, and for anybody looking to get into PC flipping, definitely consider painting your own graphics cards because it can make a build look 10 times better. The case, the fans, and the AIO are all VETROO, which I know is kind of a cheaper brand that people don't love to use for PC building. That being said, all of them are doing incredibly well. The CPU stays under about 65 degrees Celsius with that 240mm AIO that's in there, and the fans aren't incredibly loud. So I'm perfectly happy with the way this system turned out, even though we did use some cheaper components. As far as storage goes, this has a 500GB NVMe SSD. It's also got a 2TB SATA SSD, giving us a grand total of 2.5 terabytes of storage. That 2TB SSD is going to be more than plenty for most people's game libraries. Now, the specs on this puppy are definitely respectable, but said specs were not the main focus of this build. No, that would be the aesthetic appeal. See, the PC, as I'm sure you can tell, is very, very pink. And if you think about it, that's not going to be the color that everybody wants. So that forces us to sell to a much smaller, much more niche market. And that's something that's worth considering when flipping PCs, or for that matter, when running any business. I am a business management student. More specifically, I'm studying marketing within business management. And one of the first things that I learned in my first marketing class was the 4 P's of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. Now, to sell any product, you need these 4 P's very badly. You need it to be in the right place for the right price, promoting to the right people, and it needs to be the right product. And upon first instinct, this PC is not the right product for our typical buyer. Now, that being said, I think there is an opportunity for us to kind of wiggle into this niche of gamer girls, which is why I built it, even though I could have just sold the case. Now, as I've touched on in previous videos and just a little bit a second ago, when selling a PC, you need to have a target customer. You need to have pretty much everything nailed down about them. That way you can sell your product quicker. For me, this PC is targeting girls between the age of about 16 and 30 who want to get into gaming and or streaming. Now, there is one small downside to this, and that is that you can niche too far down. In a situation like with a YouTube channel or a business, it's pretty hard to niche all the way far down, but within your business, it's not all that hard to do. There could be a singular person in all of my area that wants a pink PC with these specs, and I was initially a little bit scared that building this PC would not go too well, because hey, if I've niched down too far and can't find that singular buyer who's looking for this build, then it won't sell, or at least not for as much as I'm hoping it will. And well, I was a little bit curious about that. So what do you guys think will happen? Well, at the time of recording this part of the video, the PC has been listed for 5-6 days, so almost a week. That being said, after a week, I haven't seen an unusual amount of interest, not on either side of the bell curve. I had one guy reach out on Snapchat because I post some of my PCs on my school Snapchat story. I had 2 scammers reach out on Facebook Marketplace, 1 person offering to trade a bunch of Legos. I should have taken those. Another guy offering a camera, and 1 potential lead who would actually pay cash. After a week, the interest that has been shown in this PC is pretty on par with other PCs that I've sold, and that surprised me a little bit. See, I thought that this PC would either take forever to sell or sell like that. And so far it's done neither. Now, what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that pink may not be as niche of a market as I initially thought, which is probably pretty good for us, meaning we could build another pink PC. Although, after thinking about it for a couple of minutes, I wasn't as surprised anymore, because I've done several red and black gaming PCs that, while aren't as pink as this beast, still have quite a bit of flair to them that you wouldn't expect out of the normal white fish tank build. And those PCs sold quickly and for higher profits than I was expecting. And well, yeah, granted, red and black are gonna appeal to a lot more of your typical gamers. Maybe pink makes its own case. Get it? Case? One other thing that surprised me was a lack of girls interested in this PC. And again, I don't say that to try and sound sexist, that was just who my target market was. At the end of the day, I thought I'd have a bunch of girls DMing me. And well, as usual, that wasn't the case. Dang it, plans foiled again. I thought that would work, clearly not. So yeah, after a week or so, I was surprised to see the amount of interest that we had, although not entirely shocked. That being said, what about when it sells? Well, what about after the PC sold? Well, surprise, it sold. What do I mean by that? Because, well, yeah, it is sitting behind me, but it is sold. Because somebody put down a $600 down payment on it. They're gonna pick up the rest of it on Friday after this video releases. So that's fun. But what did we learn from this experience? Well, I think I took away a couple of key parts. First off, focusing on higher end flips, at least in my area, is not what I'm gonna be doing from here on out. This 12700KF and the 4070 that are in here perform really well, but are pretty freaking expensive. And most college students don't want to pay $1,200 for a computer with hardware like that because it's too expensive. Because this is literally how much rent costs for a semester if you're rooming with other people. That being said, what did we learn about selling something that's niche like this color combo here? Well, in my opinion, we didn't learn all that much because I did a bad job of isolating variables. That being said, I do think we can take away some stuff from it. I haven't sold very many of these pretty high-end builds, and so I wasn't quite sure what to expect from it. But I did get some decent interest in it, and everybody who I showed it to seemed to love it and think it was super unique and just want it, except the fact that it was $1,200. So that makes me think that maybe, just maybe, we actually have a market for this type of thing. So I was curious, what do you guys think? For one of my next videos, should I do a PC like this, but lower end? I'll definitely consider it, because I'm curious to see how it sells against similarly spec'd and priced PCs at a lower price range. We're talking like $600 to $800 rather than $1,000 to $1,500. All that being said, this flip was a ton of fun to make. Let's break it down real quick. So after all the parts, we are $930 into this. We are selling it for $1,250 and it comes with a keyboard and a mouse. Isn't that pretty sick? It's pink. And it's mechanical. That leaves us with a $320 profit. Will I be doing a PC like this again? I actually think so. I would like to experiment with some other case colors. I know DIY PC makes these fish tank cases and all of these other different colors, and I think it would be really cool to do some builds in some of those and just see how they sell as far as flips go, because they would be pretty unique and they'd stand out to everything else on my local market. Heck, they'd probably stand out among most markets. So I'm curious to see if they'll sell for more or if they'll sell for less because they're too niche. If you guys want to see a video like that, then please comment that down below. If not, then all good. Enjoy your day, and thank you so much for watching. This has been Ryan with PC Customs. Ryan, out.